श्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत नः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामविद्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्।
Om Sri Sairam. I offer our collective pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. A very loving Sairam to all the elders, sisters and brothers. I am Sri Lekha from the Wonder City, Hyderabad. I work as a US tax consultant at Deloitte. It is a blessing for me to be a part of Sri Sathya Sai National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation Batch 2023. And today, I enjoy this privilege of welcoming you all to the most awaited, the first ever episode of the fourth season of the Satsang series, Satsangatve Nissangatvam. Satsang means company of God. In the Padma Purana, the Lord has declared that wherever his devotees call out his name and sing his glory, the Lord manifests himself. He grants Satsang. And today, to speak about his glory and to reiterate his message unto us all, we have amidst us his devotee, his student, the former Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh, Sri L V Subrahmanyam Garu, who has not only lived up to Bhagwan's teachings, but has led and served in an exemplary way, the Sri Sathya Sai Way. Without any further delay, I request the AV team to further the proceedings.
Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba says, learning the technique of service and cultivating the impulse to serve are the steps in equipping a person for leadership. Sri L V Subrahmanyam Garu was initiated into this crucial training of service and leadership in the year 1976 when he became a student at the then Sri Sathya Sai College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Whitefield, Bengaluru, where he pursued a BA course in History, Economics and Political Science. Later, he went on to complete his Masters in Political Science from this very institute. Sir has been an exemplary student throughout. Besides being a gold medalist with the highest marks in qualifying examinations of Bangalore University, Sir also represented his college in intercollegiate cricket tournament and participated in many debates in his college and university, thus being groomed to have a sharp mind, a sound body and the strength of eloquence. Education is for life, not for a living. Being allotted into the Indian Administrative Services in the year 1983, a few years later, Sri Subrahmanyam went on to obtain a master's degree in National Development and Project Planning from the University of Bradford and a diploma in the International Labour Organizations from the University of Turin, Italy, with the avowed aim of equipping himself with necessary knowledge and skills to dedicate his education and life to the service of his countrymen. During his service, Sir had a major role in preparing action plans for all-round development of scheduled tribes in the agency areas, which showed major improvements especially in the fields of school education, enrollment of tribals in professional courses, access to irrigation for improved agriculture, and horticulture on mountain slopes, which did not just empower the tribal folks but also contributed significantly to enhance the environmental quality. A visionary leader that he is, he encouraged and empowered the youth of Mehboob-Nagar to undertake roles in several government programs through Youth Component Plan, such development programs that moderated the impact of Naxalism in the district speak volumes about the dedication and determination that his leadership exemplified. His contribution in the betterment of the urban sector of the state was enthused with vision, values and vibrancy. He struck the various antagonists of urban growth at the root and through the various initiatives, implementations and improvements promoted the urban infrastructure of Andhra Pradesh to a state worthy of being emulated by other metropolises and states. In his roles in policy initiatives and financial administration, he worked tirelessly for the improvement of health and medical care from primary to tertiary levels for youth advancements, physical literacy, Olympic sports, skill trainings, rationalizations of bills, computerizations of accounts, to name a few. Sri Subrahmanyam was appointed the Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh by the Election Commission of India, and he proved his mettle yet again by conducting general elections in 2019 in a fair, transparent manner under the most critical conditions. Throughout his 37 years of public service, Sri Subrahmanyam held on tightly to the values and lessons imparted to him by Bhagwan during his college days and further. A leader who has lived the message of Bhagwan, he is known to be an epitome of integrity, honesty and efficiency. Leading by being an example, the Sri Sathya Sai Way, Sri L V Subrahmanyam.
I now request Sri L V Subrahmanyam sir to take this forward.
Thank you so much, and Sairam to everybody here. I'm sure our endeavor will be to constantly remember about the grace of Bhagwan, the blessings of Bhagwan, the good wishes of elders, and undoubtedly the most precious parental love that we received, which has helped us to chalk out a career which is of some use to the society. I know you people are all very, very aware of the circumstances obtaining in the society. You're all trained so very well, intelligent. I always feel your generation is much better endowed than my generation. Because even today, Dr. Subhada was worried whether I was familiar with the Zoom call, the software, and the hard handling of it. It's quite natural. Your generation is very smart. And I must first begin at the outset thanking Gopi, a sweet younger brother in Hyderabad, who is always looking for an opportunity to discuss about the miracle of Sathya Sai education. And Dr. Subhada, who has been such a sweet young sister, who was so helpful throughout. since the time is not much, I did not want to bite more than what I can chew. So I am restricting myself to only talk about three aspects which, in a way, have helped me to live the way in which Swami expected his students to live. Swami always had a lot of expectations from students. It was evident from his speeches which he used to give, from the letters he was writing, from the messages he was sending to us. He always thought his students will stand up to his expectations. Certainly, yes, I find many of his students who were my colleagues in the college at that point of time are doing very well in life. And I think they are also able to live a life of values without getting lost in this humdrum of existence. So I'm only looking at three aspects today. The first, which I would touch upon, is how to avoid judging anybody and how to avoid self-glorification. This I thought I must spend some time on when we talk about the leadership. The second one, which I would like to talk upon, is how gratitude is the best attitude. That's another thing which I thought I must talk. And the last one is on this aspect of nurturing your spirituality. So only on these 3 points I'm going to elaborate, and to the extent possible, give some examples here and there, just to make it interesting. And wherever you find something which is not clear, please jot it down, and towards the end of the session, in the Q&A, we can perhaps look at them. I'm extremely happy that the session itself is called Satsangatve Nissangatvam. And as things happen, Swami used to always get the Shankaracharya drama enacted by students. And the boy who played the role of Shankaracharya, Rupak Chankoti, he was speaking to me a couple of days back. He is these days in California. He just spoke to me with regard to his trip to Tirumala. So we are going to dwell on this Satsangatve Nissangatvam. We are all here to prove the point that our Sangatvam here is going to help us to generate such thoughts which help us in carefully meandering our way to go forward and to achieve our goals. अभी एक सजेशन आया है कि हम थोड़े से हिंदी में भी बात करें. शायद हमारा हिंदी इतना ठीक से नहीं होगा, क्योंकि बचपन से तेलुगु में और इंग्लिश में ही हमारा पूरा पढ़ाई हो गया. तो प्लीज excuse me, I may here and there use some Hindi words, but I'm not articulate in Hindi. Though I know I have a lot of good friends from northern India, I will not be able to take the courage of speaking in Hindi. There's a good story which is narrated. I'm starting the first point of our discussion. This is about how we should not judge anybody and how we should not indulge in self-glorification. A young couple, they actually moved to a new colony. Husband and wife, they just married, so they go to a new colony. And in that new colony, They are watching everything around their house, seeing the beauty of the colony, various other things. Suddenly, one of them, either the husband or the wife, depending upon the choice, one of you, each of you can have your own choice. One of the partners suddenly looks at the neighbor's house and says, "Oh, look at that. Why are they drying their clothes on such a dirty cloth line? Why are they not able to keep their premises clean?" The partner has made a remark like this. The other partner, whether it's a husband or the wife, the partner remained silent and the conversation went on something else. And a few days later, once again, this partner said, "Oh my goodness, why are they not able to keep their cloth line clean? Why are they still hanging their clothes on this cloth line?" The partner again is quiet, and as I said, the conversation moved to something else. 2, 3 times a conversation like this happened, and the fourth time, the partner saw through the window and said, "Oh, thank God. At last, these people have cleaned their cloth line. They must have heard my remarks at the dining table with you, so they have cleaned their cloth line." Then the partner points out and says, "No, no, no, you're mistaken. In the morning today, I got up early and I cleaned our window pane. So since we cleaned our window pane, the cloth line is now appearing to be clean." The other partner, the life partner, was surprised, and the partner mentioned, "Oh my goodness, how we judged a person without understanding that actually the fault is lying with us." The partner was seeing through a glass which had dust on its surface. So the dust was being imputed to the cloth line. This is how most of the time we make a mistake in judging people very quickly, particularly a leader who's operating in an organization, whether it is a commercial organization, whether it's a spiritual organization. I find this to be a usual trap in number of our organizations also, the Satsang organizations, because wherever human beings are there, these fault lines invariably they come up. So we need to be extremely careful in not judging people without looking at all the factors and all the circumstances. I always vividly remember Swami used to always tell us in our discourses, Swami used to tell us that never try to judge anybody, because even you do not know anything about yourself. If you look at your own childhood, if I look at my own childhood and the impressions I gathered in my childhood, and what are the impressions that I gathered in my adolescence, and later after marriage, after some years of married life, after some years of getting my children, after getting some promotions in my job, and later on, as I move towards my age of retirement and I become a pensioner, and the cycle is almost getting over, the life cycle, so many impressions that I had of people undergoes change. The impressions of my own self, I must have thought that I was very, very hardworking, but that must have been just an impression. I must have thought that I was a very diligent kind of a student. That impression was wrong. I must have always judged my life partner in a wrong manner. I have been proved wrong. So several times we make these mistakes in life. Now in an organization, many a time there is a temptation for us to find fault, and even when you find fault, you make it a loud declaration. This is something which can be avoided. Yes, we have to make analysis of the organization, the performance of individuals, how are they faring, are they understanding the tasks on hand? Some of them may not be able to understand, some of them may not have the clarity of expression. So what should we do? Should we expose them in front of everybody, or do we call them separately and tell them? Or if it is so inevitable that we have to point the mistake, then can we lace the discussion with a sense of humor and make the person who's guilty of not complying with instructions realize his mistake or her mistake and enable them to improve their performance? Because a leader who constantly searches for mistakes and who always believes in reshuffling his cards is not obviously a very popular fellow in that society. Very soon, this individual, the leader, becomes very unpopular. At the same time, it is also required that the leader must identify the rotten apple, if it is an extreme case, or the deviants, people who are not able to adhere to instructions, and gradually guide them and see that they're all brought on board and they're all able to guide others in the organization. Please remember that when you are playing a leadership role, there is a very popular expression in public administration, which is called the span of control. When you expand your thumb finger and the middle finger, whatever is that you can touch with your middle finger is often called the span of control. A leader is not expected to reach up to the last person in an organization. So, the leader's behavior is understood and interpreted by the second rung of leaders, the third rung of leaders across the organization. So it is important that we are communicating the expressions of the organization in such a way that the message is carried on till the end. Sometimes, as we saw in the case of that married couple, the fault may be in the leader's own ability to communicate, the leader's own ability to send written communications. So we have to be very careful about our oral communication, about our written communications. And if we sharpen these skills, then it's quite possible that you can live as a good leader by your example, because you're communicating effectively, you're communicating with clarity, and you are communicating with affection. And once this kind of a communication is going around in the organization, automatically a similar kind of an environment will spread in the organization. You must have heard that in the modern corporate world also, there are some leaders who always make it a point to go into the common dining hall and have their food along with the other, the employees. There are some corporate giants who always make it a point to travel in the economy class wherever they're traveling. There are some corporate leaders who, as a matter of habit, they don't employ a driver, but they drive themselves their car, which is a very, in a very humble way. They go and park the car also, so that they show that they have their own skill. So each individual can always create a kind of a culture where the message goes around the organization that you don't judge people so quickly, and even where you judge individuals, you communicate your impression in a very affectionate manner. Why should we communicate in an affectionate manner? As I just mentioned, you should not be shuffling your cards every day. You cannot hope to have fresh recruitments every time. As it is today, several organizations I notice are having this problem of attrition. Many people are leaving the organizations and going away. It is not always, the attraction is not always because of higher perks or salary. The attraction is always the personality which is occupying the top place in that organization. The person at the top, if he is affectionate, if he is lovable, if he moves very casually, informally, and when he is conversing with people, then that creates a great impression. I will just mention to you a small example of how this we tried when I was working in Hyderabad Metro Water Board, Water Supply and Sewerage Board. We sent our recognized union under the leadership of one Mr. Mohammed, and this organization, the union, elected union, they came and told me, sir, we would like to go to Chennai and see the Chennai Water Board and see what are the practices that they are doing so that we can adopt them in Hyderabad. I said, very good, it's a very good idea. So some of them, Mr. Mohammad Iqbal and a couple of others, they got into the train and they went to Chennai. They moved around, they met the people there, and they came back with a very nice recommendation. They gave a couple of them, but one I found immediately to be of great relevance. They told me that in Chennai Metro Board, on the last day of that month, there is always a gathering of the managing director and the senior officers, along with the officers, the staff, right up to the class 4, whoever was retiring on that day. They would all assemble in the corporate or the headquarters, whatever you call it. They would all assemble there, and the pay benefits, whatever retirement benefits are supposed to be paid, they are all disbursed by the managing director to the family of the retiring person. To the family means usually the wife, and the husband and wife are felicitated, and few people who work with them in the organization, they speak few words about them and in praise of them, and explain to others the contribution made by this employee. I found this to be a very good practice. So I told Mr. Iqbal that Iqbal Saab, ये बहुत अच्छी तरीका है, ये हम लोग भी इम्प्लीमेंट कर लेंगे. तो अगले महीने से हमने इसको शुरू कर दिया. हैदराबाद मेट्रो वाटर बोर्ड में हर महीने 30th का और 31st को ये मीटिंग रख लेते थे. So in that meeting, the husband and wife are felicitated by the managing director, and along with the executive director or general manager, chief general managers, हम लोग इकट्ठा बैठ के उसको तारीफ करके और उसको ये समझाते थे कि ये मेट्रो बोर्ड ये आपका ऑफिस है, आप हमेशा मेरे से और हमारा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से दूर मत रखिएगा. आप आ जाइए कभी भी, जब भी आपको आने का मन करता है, जरूर आप आइए, आके मिल लीजिए और हमारे साथ आप शामिल हो जाना चाहिए. So we started this practice, and I found in a couple of months this was generating phenomenal goodwill in the organization, and it also opened up the aspect of employees coming and confessing if they have done any mistakes in their life. I'll just mention one small instance which I can never forget in my life. One afternoon, one meter reader came to me and said, "Sir, I want to talk to you for a few minutes." So I said, "Please come." I offered him the chair. He sat down. And then this meter reader was crying. He was crying inconsolably. I was astonished. And he wouldn't speak at all. He was crying. So I got a glass of water for him. And I asked him, "What's the problem? Please tell me." Then he was telling me that, "Sir, I've done a big mistake in life. I wanted to come and tell you and seek your excuse, because you have always told us in these meetings, as I told you, this month-end meetings, I used to talk about some values, about the principles of organization, and how we must all work like members of family, etc., etc." So this meter reader, he confessed and said, "Sir, I've done a great mistake in life. I have lived dishonest way. I was not doing the meter reading correctly. I was creating my gains. I was taking bribes, and thereby I was imposing losses to the organization. I did not know how to react. So I said, "It's all right. It's okay. Now that you realize you've done a mistake, please ensure that you don't continue with this kind of a behavior." He said, "Sir, no, sir. I must tell you why I got this transformation in myself." I said, "Please tell me." He said, "Sir, I have a child. I have only one child. After a lot of waiting, we were blessed to have a male child. And this male child, who is 6 years old, is a very mischievous child. He always plays. And sir, a couple of weeks ago, this child, in his, pranks, he was running around. He jumped on some wall or something like that, and developed an injury. So his feet or knee or something got very badly injured, and it was neglected. He didn't apply medicines correctly, whatever was there. And ultimately he said, "Sir, a fortnight ago, this young child, his leg was amputated because of me." The father was confessing to me with tears rolling down, saying, "Sir, I have not lived my path of dharma. I have not listened to elders' advice, people like you. I thought I should earn some money, and I have only one child. And today when I see this child, crippled and is limping, I am not able to hold myself. The God has punished me because I have lived the wrong way." So I'm only trying to tell you these examples just to tell you that everybody is innately very good. Sometimes, because of the rush of work, the temptations of money, the call of authority, various ways in which people make mistakes. So as a leader in an organization, you are not doing the right job in just pointing the mistake. You would be doing the complete job if you can enable this individual to turn a new sheet in life. So it should be a case of an enlightened leader. A leader who is enlightened likes to spread that brightness in the organization. Now, brightness cannot go with darkness. So you cannot create unhappiness in an individual's life. I remember, I'm sorry I'm taking a little more time on this, because this, I think, is a very crucial point. As executive officer of Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, in that organization also, we have a typical government rules for punishment if people have done mistakes. Now, what is the usual punishment we give? Withholding of an increment without cumulative effect, withholding of increment with cumulative effect, pushing him down the seniority, pushing him down to the next level of seniority, like this, and suspension, and then finally dismissal. Like this, you have grades of punishment. the moot point which some of us in Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, we sat down and discussed, and this question came up that what is the core principle in imposing punishment? The punishment is being imposed for two important objectives. One, in recognition of the mistake committed by somebody, depending on the gravity of the mistake, you award a punishment. The second one, which is the cardinal principle, which we often lose sight of, is to reform the individual. To reform the individual, to see to it that he or she doesn't behave in the same way another time. So we are interested to see that there is a reformation, there's a change in this individual. Now, a typical government way, why should Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam also follow? Because TTD is a dharmic organization. So we came up with this principle and said, withholding of increment, what does it do? The wife, as it is working on a shoestring budget. The salaries, what they are often not really enough for somebody to live in comfort. So if that salary which is taken home by this employee is reducing further, it's coming down by 1,000 rupees, 1,500 rupees or something like that, then who is the affected party? It is the wife who is the affected party, because it is the wife who has to manage the entire domestic expenditure within that budget, whatever is that condensed budget which is brought home by this husband. Now, what about the reform? We don't know whether this individual has changed or not. And usually, if the change is not there also, it takes a lot of time for us to detect that. If there's a change, also, it takes some time for people to recognize that. But what is going to immediately happen is the housewife is going to be put to a lot of strain. So we said, why should TTD also follow this? So we changed it and said that an employee who is guilty of these kind of crimes or mistakes, I started imposing punishment of saying that he will go to Annadanam and serve food for 30 days. He will go to a particular place and see that the pilgrim's footwear is being managed properly. He will go to Goshala and work with the cows for 30 days, 60 days. So like this, we started adopting some practices. Honestly, if somebody were to go to a court of law and challenge this, I'm sure some of my colleagues, lawyers, would have invoked provisions of our Indian Constitution and said that in a secular country, Mr. L V Subrahmanyam is adopting Hindu practices and question my action. But fortunately, nobody went there. And this is one experience I can share where we have changed the procedure for punishment, because what is very important is to change the behavior of the individuals. So let's not judge individuals by what we see. Even if you judge, let us not be loud about it. Let us quietly make a change. The second one, which helps a leader to grow, to become a tall leader, is in the attitude. What is this attitude? This attitude to remain gratitude, to show this gratitude. See, gratitude is a sense of appreciation of what we have. The two hands we have, the two eyes we have, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the legs, the body, and opportunity to study, opportunity to go to a lovely college, opportunity to be parented by two lovely parents, to have a family of brothers and sisters, to have friends who are so good, to live in a society which is so enlightened. to live in a country which has got such distinguished history. All these are aspects which must constantly fill our heart with gratitude. I often used to tell people in our government service that don't always keep looking at Mukesh Ambani and Ratan Tata and keep comparing that, look, I don't have a mansion like Mukesh Ambani, or I don't have a private jet like Ratan Tata has. I must be happy that I got a job. I'm looked at with a lot of expectations in the society. People come to me and say, sir, we expect this from you. We have a hope that since you have joined, you're going to do this. So all these are aspects which should give us tremendous satisfaction. And as you know, gratitude is a word derived from Latin word gratia, which means being grateful. So let us be grateful to the society. Let us be grateful to the community. Let us be grateful to Swami, who gave us the opportunity to get together like this. Let us be grateful to all the Hindu pantheon of gods who are there. Let us be grateful that all the rishis have given us the Sanatana Dharma. So many aspects which help us to live a life of dignity, to pursue the goal of life without any confusion. There are so many places in this world today where people are not able to have one night of peaceful sleep. They do not know when a bomb is going to come and fall on them. They do not know when the roof is going to collapse and crush them to death. They do not know when are the pathways on which some mines have been put and they could be blown away into pieces. People are living in great uncertainties. I was reading today morning that in America, about 150 banks are likely to collapse very soon. I don't know. I only hope it's not a news which is reliable. I got as part of the social media. So I'm only trying to tell you that insecurity is enveloping this world. People are not happy with the circumstances. People are very, very unhappy with the leadership which is obtaining at the national level in several countries. But what can they do? They are trying to go on the streets. We have seen how in Iran, the women were persecuted because they said they do not want to wear the hijab. So we have different kind of issues which are tormenting the minds of people. So among the Committee of Nations, if these are the kind of worries which are affecting all of them, here is a country where we are celebrating Sri Ramanavami with great, piety, discipline, devotion. And similarly, we celebrated a few days ago the ushering in of Sobhakruta Nama Samvatsaram, the new year. तो इस दुनिया में ऐसे जगह बहुत है जहां पे लोगों को ठीक से खाना नहीं मिल रहे, पानी नहीं मिल रहे, चैन से वो सो भी नहीं सकते हैं. इस दुनिया में जब ऐसे जगह भी है, इस भारतवर्ष में हम इतना सुकून से हम जी रहे हैं. हम जा सकते हैं, कभी कहीं भी जा सकते हैं. हम समुद्र के पास जा सकते हैं, नदियों के पास जा सकते हैं, कहीं भी जा सकते हैं. हम ऐसे घूम के हमारे उत्तराखंड भी जा सकते हैं, कहीं भी जा सकते हैं. ऐसे बहुत अच्छे जगह है इस देश में. सुकून से हम रह सकते हैं. जो काम हमको करने के लिए मन करता है वो काम कर सकते हैं. तो let us be very happy about this and let us be grateful to the God. Let us be grateful to the leaders in the society. Let us be grateful to the political establishment which is protecting our citizens from external aggression. Let us be grateful to the wise men in the society who are generating so many wonderful ideas which are filling our imagination with the kind of magnitude of the creation of this Lord. So all this optimism, all this kind of a gratitude, the gratefulness What does it do? Once you are grateful like this, what happens is that in your mind, you automatically start becoming very, very positive. It is said that being grateful creates a positive kind of a nature in your mind, which is the second highest positive emotion after selfless love. If you are able to selflessly love somebody without expecting anything, I have served him 2 meals, therefore I expect a return meal. I called him for 3 parties to my house, so I expect at least this individual to call me back for 1 party. I went to his daughter's wedding. I gave a wonderful gift there. I expect that when I'm performing my daughter's wedding, he would come back and give me a gift. No, that's not being selfless. We do it because we have to do. We do it because we like to do. That's what Swami defined duty also. Liking what one has to do. This is something which I have to do, but I'll do it with love. I do it with a lot of affection. I do it with a lot of sincerity. So you get positive kind of a vibration, positive emotion. Similarly, your happiness is visible on your face if you're content, if you're grateful. The happiness is visible on your face and you're always radiating joy. And whichever place you go, whichever conversation you're making, whether it's a marriage, whether it is a party, whether it is a bhajan, whether it is anywhere, any group in your office, people automatically gather around you because they're able to draw energy for themselves. They are also able to gain a lot of cheer with your conversations which you are able to make. So that's why you should be very grateful. And this attitude, it is said, it also brings another faculty to ourselves. That faculty is of resilience. See, life is a beautiful journey of ups and downs. It is always not a straight path, nor is it an even path. There are always ups and downs. There are some successes, there are some challenges, there are some failures also. So, how to cope with them and how to interpret the challenging situations, not only to yourself, you have to also carry the people in your organization. I remember, again, going back to my Metro Board days, we were trying to talk to the satellite center people and asking them whether they can do the aerial flying and give us photogrammetry so that we are able to develop maps for twin cities. So when we are doing this, and I approached the NRSA people, National Remote Sensing Organization, they gave me some costs, and I found the costs to be a little high. So I thought, let me share the costs with the other organizations. So I called for a meeting. I discussed with the commissioner of Greater, in those days, the Municipal Corporation of Hyderabad, the telecom people, the electricity people, and some other departments. So I tried to tell them that if we have these maps of the localities, we can pool in our services and see how to grow our clientele in the twin cities. So I was explaining the rationale about it and how the business model of each organization can undergo a quick upswing with the development of this kind of a facility. I still remember somebody who was representing the telecom. He was telling me that, sir, we are not really interested in this at this point of time, and I don't think we'll ever require this. So I was surprised and said, why do you say that? He said, sir, today itself we are not able to cater to the telephone demand that is there in the society, and we are finding it very, very difficult. We are not able to increase our the exchanges. We are having so many problems. So I don't think, sir, we require to go around and canvas for clientele. Our hands are full, so our business model does not require the kind of aerial maps that you're talking about. I'm talking about this faculty, what I'm trying to develop in 1998 and 99. Just imagine. And just then, we started the the cable telephone system, the wireless WLL as it is called, it was just then ushered in. And in a matter of 10 years' time, we have seen how telecom was pushed to one corner. So I'm only trying to tell you that organizations can undergo very, very swift changes. Suddenly an organization's demand drops. Suddenly an organization demand grows. So the leader has to be resilient to see how to cope with the change, whether it is a depression or is it an aggression. How does he cope with it, or how does she cope with it? And how does they plan the organization to move from where? So that is how it is said that if one is grateful, these are the kind of advantages that you have. A very famous, a very popular philosopher of our times called Sri Ram Sir, he gave a wonderful example. He said that if you were to value the substitute for each human organ, for example, somebody doesn't have good ears. Now he has to put a hearing machine. Somebody's eyes have got a problem, so he has to wear spectacles. He or she has to also go for some other implants. Let us say somebody's teeth are not good, then he's got some dentures put. Like this, if you add the supplements which are required to carry out the minimum functions of the body, and sometimes things like the skin, which is impossible for any substitute. If you were to value the cost of all these organs which God has endowed on you, which your parents have granted you, it is more than 100 crores of investment. So human body, Sri Ram Sir always says, more than 100 crores of investment God has made in you. For 100 crores of investment, you're all very, very clever people. Please calculate IRR and then see what should be the kind of return which each one of us must give to the society, must give to our parents, must give to whoever has helped us, nurtured us with good ideas in life. So, a huge, valuable asset is created, this body, with the Pancha Tattva, and then you are supposed to manage it carefully. So, please see that this emotion of being grateful, it dominates your thinking, and you are always content with what you get. It's not that you should not be competitive. It's not that you shouldn't pick challenges, but never believe that a higher scale of living is the be all and end all of life. So we must be very, very grateful. I am reminded of a lovely bhajan which we used to sing in our hostel days. I hope I can sing that. He Param Dayal Sairam Bhagavan Bhagavan He Param Dayal Sairam. So out of great love for you, being, with you, traveling with you, creating that awareness in you, so many good qualities, this society, the Guru, the Bhagwan, whomever you call, whomever you adore, they are creating in you. So we forget these qualities, we forget these assets, and we are constantly aspiring for something which is not within our hold, which is beyond us, which is sometimes very difficult for us to get hold of. But because we didn't get hold of that, we always neglect what we have, and thereby lead a life of discontentment and be, to that extent, disappointed with people around you. Let's not do this. The last one, I hope I have some time to talk about this, is nurturing your spirituality. What is spirituality is a very important question that we have. Because today in our society, we are all the time talking about science, We are all the time talking about a rational human being. We are all the time worried if we put vibhuti, if we put tilak, if we put flowers in our hair as girls, if we wear a sari, if we are tying our hair, or if I'm wearing a white shirt going to an office, or if I'm folding my hands and saying namaste, or if I touch the feet of elders when I see them, immediately I feel in an organization that people are going to boo me, and people will think that here is a guy who is traditionalist, who is not a rationalist. This is the mistaken kind of a notion which we are finding today in the society. But is that right? Is that correct? Is the question which I wish all of us constantly ask. Because I have seen, to share an example with you, I've heard about a very famous novelist, person who lived his life of questioning, who thought he's a very rational individual, who has inspired hundreds of people. That person, when he was on his deathbed virtually in Visakhapatnam, he confessed to a guru, saying that, Guruji, I wasted my whole life. I never realized the importance of Sanatana Dharma. I did not practice even one good virtue which my parents have taught me. I thought my life of being a rational human being, to question everything and to never listen to reasoning. See, to question is never a fault. But do we question for the sake of a question, or do we question for the sake of understanding and then adopting? If that attitude is not there, then questioning is not becoming a profitable venture. It is becoming a negative feature of your life. And no soon people around you in the organization understand that this boss, this chairman, this managing director, this general manager, his questioning is never leading to adoption of any good framework of values. So they won't respect you. And as an individual who is questioning, you have also not gained anything. So spiritual quest is something which is to help us to look beyond, not to be content, not to be lost in the mundane existence of today, but to be part of an enlightened tomorrow. That is the spiritual quest which the ancient sages of our country have understood very well. And that's why Swami also called his magazine as Sanatana Sarathi, a vehicle which helps us to understand about our hoary past, about the practices in the Shastra, about the Puranas, about the Upanishads, about the Itihasas. What is the secret of Brahma Sutras? All these are meant to elevate us, to tell us that beyond the Pancha Bhautika Sariram, beyond these 5 elements of the body, there is a charioteer sitting in this Sarathi. Swami also a number of times compared our soul to the charioteer sitting in a chariot and riding. The charioteer knows the chariot is only useful to take him to a destination. Once you reach the destination of the Swami's mandir or your college or your organization, you have to leave the chariot behind. It's a very, very costly Mercedes-Benz car, but I don't think Mukesh Ambani takes the Mercedes-Benz into his office and sit in the Benz car and function. So chariot's function is over once the goal is reached. So the spiritual attitude, it gives us this clarity of what is important in life and what is that baggage which we should carry. I hope you remember, Swami used to always say, less luggage, more comfort, he used to tell us. So we were also asked to live that way in our society, in our hostel, and not always to have too many things in our cupboards. So we should see that we are not falling prey to the ridicule of the society. The society may not recognize the spiritual personality that is growing within you. The Swami student, when he's there in the college and the hostel, the nurturing of this happens, that the spiritual persona of this individual is growing. And this growth is not visible outside. The 6-footer that the individual is not symbolic of the growth of the persona that is happening inside. So never be concerned about the judgment people do. Never be bothered about the styles that they expect from you. Never be bothered about the pseudo intellectual propaganda that you hear around you. I'm sure you are aware about the kind of things which people talk about our country, the kind of ridicule which sometimes they do. I hope some of you had the chance to read books written by Sri Rajiv Malhotra, the recent one about the snakes in Ganga. So we have different people who boast of themselves as intellectuals because they have a couple of degrees and who can speak better English, who are always sought after in the media. And, naturally, sometimes it's possible that we are worried about the impressions given by these individuals. Please understand that several times, these people who are the people who occupy the headlines in newspapers are quite shallow in their own lives. If you have an opportunity to strike a personal conversation with them, you can realize how shallow they are and how frightful they are about their own future. But they talk great things when they come out. They give you 10 points for excellent living. They write books about the 7 habits of successful people, things like that. But if you go to them and if you were to converse with them about these principles, sometimes they fail. So I always feel that we must convert ourselves from the platform, which is always talking about I, to a platform where we are able to talk about we. That transformation, that is the spiritual progress which helps us to face several odds in life with equanimity. What Bhagavad Gita has talked about of being, equanimous, whether it's a failure or it's a success. So we must all have that kind of an attitude. And usually your spiritual growth depends upon the kind of the partner you choose in life. So be extremely careful about that. Don't be tempted by the external looks only. Similarly, the choice of friends, Nissangatve, Satsangatve, whatever is that we are talking about, of Satsangatve Nissangatvam, Satsangam, the group of individuals who share your values, who share your ideals, that is what is important. Very often, we are told that there is what is called as a destination disease. So I'm touching this as a last point, I close it here. The destination disease is, I always postpone. I have a habit of postponing. I tell people that, I will be a very honest fellow once I reach, my savings touches 50 lakhs. Once I'm able to get that kind of savings in life, I'm going to be very honest. So that is called as destination disease. I am today living in a single bedroom house and it's a small flat. But the minute I'm able to move into a villa, I'll become very honest. Till then, I postpone this culture of value system. Similarly, you say that today I'm traveling on a two-wheeler. The day I'm able to buy a good, car, a four-wheeler, I'll be a Kia motor car, let us say. I'll be very comfortable. I'll adopt the sound value system. So one keeps postponing adopting values, picking on good friends, saying that I must live in a company of these rich fellows so that I'll also be considered as a rich chap. Though I'm not rich, I'll be considered as a rich fellow. I'm getting down from a Mercedes Benz, then my value also goes up. These are the ways in which sometimes we are tempted. Now, this is a disease which is called as the destination disease by Swami Mukundananda. So we should be extremely careful not to postpone. And as always, it is said in Telugu that Mokkaite ongutundi kani maanaite ongutunda. A plant can be bent, but you can't, do it with a tree when it becomes a big tree. So every time, that's why we are always asked to do bhajans, because Nama Sankirtana is supposed to be the easiest path, which is mentioned even in Srimad Bhagavatam. So how do we do that? So that's why in our college, in our hostel, we are always exposed to bhajans. Please, I remember with great fondness that we used to start our academic sessions every day with a bhajan, and we used to close the day with a bhajan in our dining hall. And several of these bhajans I keep remembering in different moments of, whether you say idleness, happiness, or some tension. Like suddenly when I was thinking about this, I remembered a very nice bhajan which some of our boys used to sing. Manwa bolo, Jai Sitaram bolo, Jai Radhe Shyam. Manwa bolo, Jai Sitaram bolo, Jai Radhe Shyam. Jai Sitaram bolo, Jai Radhe Shyam. Jai Sitaram bolo, Jai Radhe Shyam. Lovely bhajans. So develop this habit, singing bhajans. There's never a moment of idleness. You are never alone. You are not isolated. There's another wonderful saying, which I'll just quote and close here. We are celebrating the 100th birthday of another very evolved person who is called Jilalmudi Amma. This is the 100th birthday which is celebrated, and today happens to be her birthday. She gave a very small, very small expression. She said, Truptiye Mukti. Truptiye Mukti. Salvation is only contentment. So if you're content in life with what you got, with what you have, you are an evolved soul. That is moksha for you. We don't have description of moksha as something where you are going to be in a central air conditioned chambers, or you're traveling in Rolls Royce. No, that kind of description is not there in Sanatana Dharma. So it is a state of mind. It's an existence where nothing really bothers you. You're not pinched by the happenings around you. So a state of existence, equanimity. You're able to face life. You have to live your life. You can't shorten it, but live a life of contentment. Pursue your goals. But if the goals are not proving to be achievable, it's all right. And we always remember the Mahabharata saying, which always talks about Yato Dharma, Tato Jaya. Whoever is following the path of Dharma, success is theirs. Now, how do you define success? Is something where I'm sure very intelligent people like you will define success as a state of mind where you're not really bothered. Yes, I'm bothered that I'm not getting all the comfort. It's all right, I'm happy with it. What is important is not the bedroom. What is important is not the bed. What is most important is you must get sleep. How do you get sleep? You get sleep only if you're not ambitious, you're not planning a coup, you're not planning a conspiracy against somebody. lead a life of contentment. So these are some thoughts which I thought I'll share with you and say that as an enlightened leader, a lot is expected from each one. And never ever think that your organization will collapse the day you retire from the organization. No, you must always feel very happy that you are handing over the baton to somebody else, and that somebody will take it to the next mile and the next growth. So we believe in the next generations, and I'm saying it with full satisfaction and confidence that I am seeing in front of me a generation of students who are going to do very well in life. But please fix your goals correctly. Please follow good examples. Constantly, please read lives of great individuals. There's so much of good which is happening in the society. Look around, and if possible, don't get disheartened by the news reports which you get in the newspapers. In fact, I can't help quoting a very, very popular editor, Sri Vakati Pandurangarao Garu, who used to tell me that why don't you read the newspaper in the evening? Don't read the newspaper in the morning. He was himself a celebrated journalist. Very few of his kind of a caliber and the metal that we find today. So don't get disheartened by the news. A lot of positive is happening in the society, and people like you should take this country to the next level and work for that. I sincerely wish you the very best in all your endeavors, and I pray to Puja Bhagwan to shower his blessings on each one of you and to convert each one of you to an institution, to give great confidence in the society, to become a beacon of hope to your family, your friends, and your enemies also. Sairam.
Thank you very much, sir. I really think everybody is recharged now. And with your permission, I would like to proceed to the Q&A session. I request all the participants to raise your hands if you have any questions so that sir can answer them. I can see a few members raising their hands. Can we go with Ananya Singh? Can anybody unmute Ananya Singh, please?
First of all, Sairam to everyone, Sairam sir. And thank you very much for this beautiful and knowledgeable session. My question is that, as you said, we should always be grateful or thankful whatever we have, happy or satisfied. But in between, like seeking for growth, like working towards it, what it is something good, like seeking for growth or working towards it.
No, always, Ananya, nice that you raised this point. There is always scope for growth. We are never saying that we should be content where we are, but there is a way in which we go about. I used to find people, even for civil services preparation itself, sometimes there are individuals who think that if they don't succeed in civil services, there is nothing else left for them in life. So we shouldn't have that kind of an attitude. Yes, we should succeed, we must try. But should we think that this is be all and end all of life? No, certainly not. But should we not grow? Yes, we should grow. Somebody who is working in a factory is able to have a single bedroom house. Should he never think of a 3-bedroom house? No, he should think of a 3-bedroom house. But how does he go from single bedroom to 3-bedroom? The additional investment that he has to make, how does he do it? Is he able to do it because he has sacrificed some comfort? Is it because he has done some extra labor? Is it because he has done some clever deployment of resources? Is it because he has invested in shares which are doing well in life? These are all legitimate channels which are available. But sometimes, because the urge to grow the urge to go into a 3-bedroom flat is so strong that this individual may resort to a single transaction to make it big. We have cases like that. A few years ago, in AP Housing Board, a chief engineer, his house was raided, his lockers were seized, and when they opened the lockers, they found bundles and bundles of currency and lot of gold. And then the media fellows went to his house and put the microphone before the children of this chief engineer. The children of the chief engineer, in unequivocal terms, they told, "We never asked my father to earn this kind of money. We never asked him to earn, in the corrupt way. We don't know why he tried to do that." So just see how the father would have thought that if he just became corrupt when he became chief engineer, so that 1 year he is a chief engineer, he earns it big, and after that he'll do things which are in a dharmic way. So to grow is not a crime. To think of growing is not a crime. But how do you grow? So just as I told you, I'm an IAS officer. I've worked in government service for 37.5 years. But I don't have great savings with me. If I tell you my bank details, some of you may feel very sorry and you might get depressed. So what I'm only trying to tell you is that contentment should be the under-running fuel. That is the bottom layer which is always there of contentment. That's the point I made. Thank you, Ananya.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We have a question from Shankar Narayan. Can we have him on the audio?
Sairam sir, Shankar Narayanan here. Sir, I just wanted to ask you. So, being in the administrative service, you have to meet, politicians in your day-to-day activities most of the time. So, sometimes it might not be pleasant. I mean, it's my own interpretation. It might be in a different level altogether. So, please forgive me if I'm asking something wrong. So, sometimes it might not be pleasant. Sometimes we will be put in a position completely to to fall away from what Swami has said. If we have to if we have to please them, sometimes we may not go honest. But if you are honest, sometimes it might go rude. So how do you tackle such situation? Because the same situation happens in our corporate lives as well. So I wanted to understand if there was any situation where you strong firm with Swami's words, and that gave a better inspiration to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Shankar. This is something which we have to live with in a democratic society. Elected representatives are supposed to be representing the humanity, and you are their public servant. That's how we are called, public servants. What happens is actually you get a mix of both categories. I came across some elected representatives who are extremely knowledgeable, phenomenal common sense, and honest in their own way, and they are very, very respectful towards you. You find a bunch of them. You also find some people who are very arrogant and who expect always an yes from you. And whenever you say no, they sometimes talk very menacingly. They look at you also very menacingly. But both these categories, they realize their own folly. I would not like to name the ministers because it's not really correct. Some of them are still around. One of the ministers, I remember, he was responsible for my transfer because he expected some things to be done in a particular way, which was certainly the wrong way. And his personal secretary used to come to me often and tell me that this is what the minister is expecting. So I used to be very clear with the personal secretary, saying it's not possible. And I used to tell him that, look, I've always been like this and this is the right way. Otherwise, you please tell the minister that he will be in suit. So we went along like this. The minister initially had a lot of admiration for me. But as things became difficult for him because the people around him were ridiculing him, saying that, your secretary is very strong and he's a very tough guy and stuff like that. So perhaps they were adding fuel to the fire. So the minister met the chief minister and told him that, sir, LV is a very difficult fellow for me. So I want him to be transferred. The minute this guy mentioned to the chief minister jumped at the offer. The chief minister said, very good, I will immediately transfer LV. So that evening itself, we issued the transfer orders. And this chief minister was actually looking after finance. So immediately he posted me to finance department. And then I got the transfer, and naturally next day or something, you don't get joining time in Hyderabad. You have to immediately go and join. So I went and joined in finance and went on to call on the chief minister. The chief minister gave me a good big smile and he said, LV, I was so happy that this minister was complaining against you. So before anybody got the scent of it, I transferred you and immediately grabbed you and put you in finance because I want you in finance. So this minister was responsible for my transfer. This is what I'm trying to tell you. They are also very good fellows. Within 10 days, I went for a meeting to the assembly. We have this assembly legislative committee meeting. So from finance, we have to regularly attend every committee meeting. So the secretaries in finance, by rotation, 3 of us, we share responsibility. So I went for this meeting. And this minister who got me transferred, he was there. And the minute he saw me, believe me, he sort of took my hands and dragged me to one corner. And he held both my hands and he said, LV Garu, you have to pardon me. I am responsible for your transfer. But sir, honestly, I must tell you, I regret why I did this transfer. He himself confessed. So politicians are politicians. They have their own goals, they have their own individual targets, but they will always be very, very grateful to officers who are honest and who are uniformly honest, who are consistently honest. So that is something which, whether it is in corporate world or in a government service, the name spreads very fast. Few people would have seen you, but large number of people would have heard about it. So the word of mouth spreads very fast. So we are always told in Masuri, our training days, that before your name, before your face goes, your reputation goes. So we have to be always careful that your reputation is not spoiled because of your behavior. Thank you, Shankar.
There was
Question?
this participant, Sukrit Savarkar, if he's here.
Yes, sister.
Yeah.
Loving Sairam to one and all present here. My question is to sir is, sir, how to be equanimous in a simple way, or how Swami expect us to be equanimous? Sairam.
Thank you. No, I mean, this is something which, as an attitude, we should be careful about it. That's all. I mean, there's no formula for that. There's no diet for that. There is no uniform for that. It is a way in which you develop the habit of introspection. So, somebody said, how much time you spend with yourself. I think that is something which is very, very important. We often spend more time with others and we scarcely spend time with ourselves. So I suggest that whether it is in the form of meditation or whether it is termed of in the way of sitting and reading yourself, analyzing yourself, collecting your thoughts, I think we need to spend time with ourselves so that we understand whether our response to a particular situation, was it right? Was it appropriate? It's not as if, everybody can't become a Muhammad Azharuddin who on debut scored a century. All the first 3 matches, he scored 3 centuries, as you know. But what is important is, what went wrong? How did I behave? You have shouted at somebody in your house. Yes, you shouted. And then you reflect and say, should I have shouted like that? Was it right? Is there any other way in which I could have expressed myself? Is there a way in which I could have been more stronger in my expression than with a word? So you begin to analyze your own behavior. Sometimes you get carried away when somebody is praising you, and you think they meant all the words that they used in the dictionary to praise you. No, may not be true. They would have done it because it is incumbent on them to praise you. I'm giving a lecture today on the Zoom call. So everybody says, sir, you have done a great job, excellent, and all that. But I should sit carefully again and look at my notes and see what are the things which I uttered with clarity, what are the things which I did not mention, what are the points which I wanted to tell very surely, but which I didn't. So we need to introspect to work on what is our performance and constantly see how you improve upon it. I mean, I was working in Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, and I was trying to do things in the best way. So I remember there was Sankranti festival which came. A particular Pravachanakara who gives lectures, Sri Chaganti Koteshwarao garu, he came to Tirumala, and along with him his group of his followers or his friends came. So all of us went to Pushkarini and we had a dip there, and we were going into the main temple for darshan. So one of his followers, he quietly came to me and he said, sir, I wish to make a small point for your attention. I said, yes, please tell me. He said, sir, please don't mind my telling this. I said, no, please tell me. He said, sir, you are doing most of the things very well, but there's one area where you have to improve. I said, okay, please tell me what it is. He said, sir, you have to tie your dhoti in the perfect way. Presently, you are not tying your dhoti in the perfect manner. So, sorry, sir, I am hurting your feelings and I should not be talking like this. You are a senior officer. But I just felt like this. I said, no, you have done a great help by pointing out. So, next day, I called some people and I asked them to teach me. And for almost 4 or 5 days, every day they're coming morning and evening, teaching me how to do it. And then I think today I'm able to wear it with more dignity and grace and more confidence also. So you have to constantly introspect. A very, very frivolous thing like tying a dhoti, you might think, why should you be so bothered about? No, every bit of it, every feedback that comes to you, every way in which you can introspect your own behavior, you will clearly get this message, because your antaratma, it cannot and it will never lie to you. Your antaratma immediately gives you a feedback and says, what is this? Why did you speak like that? You really hurt that person's feelings. So if you have hurt somebody's feelings, you realize it, then you have to quickly find an occasion to sort of pay your confession, to make amends, and see that you don't repeat. So I think as you become senior, maybe, I mean, it's not as if now I'm in a zero resting point. In our physical balance days, physics, we used to do experiments. So we have to set the ZRP. No, it's not as if I'm in the ZRP already. No, we have to evolve and we have to slowly move in that on the plane and see that you're a better individual today than what you were yesterday. It's a daily monitoring you have to carry on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll take rest of the questions on WhatsApp. Now I would like to invite Dr. Gopi Krishna Purtala, sir, convener Sri Sathya Sai National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation.
Sairam, everybody. Sairam, LVS Garu. It's been a wonderful talk. I'm sure you're one person. You're at least my association with you. Whatever you talk, you walk it also. And we've seen your values that you've imbibed right from your younger days, how you have spread it across wherever you work, till the moment of your chief secretary also, and where you lived up to that value system and, right royally retired as the chief secretary of this government. So thank you very much, sir. And I think the children here are very blessed to listen to those words of wisdom. And I'm sure I see chat messages coming and banging my WhatsApp also, that it's been a wonderful talk, and we need to hear more such people on this Satsang series. So all of you, here is, here's somebody who's spoken to you and who has followed it in letter and spirit in his life. So this is one message that we need to carry from this Satsang session, that whatever you talk basically in your life, you see that you adhere to this value system that you talk about and ensure that you walk it also in your life. And that's what this entire series has been about. And I think I should thank you, sir. You opened the innings of the Satsangatve Nissangatvam like Sachin Tendulkar today. You're the first speaker. We'll have 11 more speakers coming up. And I'm sure all the 11 speakers will be coming up with Swami's divine blessings, will enthrall you with values, and they will really add a lot of value to your lives. Just keep tuned to this series of Satsangatve Nissangatvam. And thank you very much once again. Over to you, Subhada.
Sairam.
Sairam.
Sairam Uncle, thank you very much. I'd like to start by thanking LVS sir. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing such valuable lessons in a manner befitting this cohort. आपने जिस प्रकार इतनी सरलता और मधुरता से हमें समझाया है कि कभी भी किसी को आंकना नहीं चाहिए, जज नहीं करना चाहिए. हम सभी भली भांति हमको ये समझ में आया है कि हर व्यक्ति में स्वाभाविक तौर पर अच्छाई होती है, सच्चाई होती है, और वार्तालाप स्पष्ट, करुणामय और स्नेहपूर्ण वार्तालाप किसी भी समस्या का समाधान ढूंढने में हमारी सहायता जरूर करेगा, और किसी भी संगठन को एकजुट जोड़ के रखने में मदद करेगा. उसके साथ ही नकारात्मकता को नकारात्मक तत्वों के रूपांतरण में भी सहायक होगा. कृतज्ञता का जो आपने हमको लेसन दिया है सर, उसके लिए भी हम सब बहुत शुक्रगुजार हैं. और स्वार्थ रहित प्रेम को आत्मसात करने के लिए कृतज्ञता का क्या रोल है, उसका कितनी अहम भूमिका कृतज्ञता निभाती है, ये भी हम सब ने समझा है आज. और निश्चित ही सकारात्मकता की ओर ले जाने वाली ये जो कृतज्ञता है, इससे हमें जीवन की चुनौतियों को सामना करने के लिए क्षमता और शक्ति मिलेगी, ऐसा आज हमने समझा है, और इसे हम अपने जीवन में आत्मसात करने की पूरी कोशिश करेंगे. सर, आपने यह भी बतलाया है कि किसी भी संगठन में किसी की भी तारीफ करने से उनमें बदलाव लाया जा सकता है, और हर लीडर को इस गुण को अपने अंदर अपनाना चाहिए. साथ ही साथ रेजिलियंस या स्थिति स्थापक होने की भी कोशिश करनी चाहिए. निश्चित ही हम सभी आपकी बात का अनुसरण करते हुए कृतज्ञता को अपने व्यक्तित्व का प्रमुख तत्व के रूप में विकसित करेंगे सर. और आध्यात्मिक खोज यानी स्पिरिचुअल क्वेस्ट के विषय में आपने हमें जिस प्रकार प्रेरित किया है, हम सभी में अपने अंतर निवासी सनातन सारथी तक पहुंचने की एक झलक उजागर हुई है सर. निश्चित ही आपके इस मार्गदर्शन से हमारे आध्यात्मिक व्यक्तित्व को निखारने की कोशिश करने में हम सब और ज्यादा प्रेरित हुए हैं. इक्वानिमिटी और या स्थित प्रज्ञान के विषय में भी आपने हमको जो मार्गदर्शन दिया है सर, उसके लिए भी हम बहुत बहुत तहे दिल से आपको शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहते हैं सर. Thank you very much, sir. Your humility, your empathy, and the attention to detail in everything that you have just spoken. It is an important learning, sir, which you have inadvertently imparted to us all. And a very special thanks for the impromptu and mellifluous rendition of bhajans also, sir. Thank you. We look forward to listening from you very soon again, sir.
I ventured to sing. I hope you didn't mind.
No, sir. Yeah. It was a very pleasant surprise. So thank you very much.
And thank you for, and I also would like to mention that, he was supposed to travel, but when we requested him to come, he canceled his trip and he said that I would like to talk to these children. So thank you very much for staying back in Hyderabad and speaking to them. So may Swami bless you, Sairam.
Thank you, Sairam. Sairam.
Thank you, sir. I would also like to extend my gratitude to our conveners, Professor Dr. Yoginder Verma and Dr. Gopi Krishna Pritula sir. Sir, आप लोगों की प्रयत्नों की वजह से अपने जीवन और व्यवसाय में उत्कृष्टता हासिल किए हुए इन महानुभाव से हम सब रूबरू हो सके हैं और हम आशा करते हैं कि आगे भी हम ऐसे बहुत सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस को एंजॉय कर पाएंगे.
जरूर करेंगे.
Ji sir, thank you very much. I would also like to thank the media team and the IT team for their constant help, support and guidance. I'll be failing in my duties if I don't thank Sister Sri Lekha for so wonderfully moderating this session. This session has started with a bang. The first step has been set in a very wonderful manner, and I thank Sister Sri Lekha very much for that.
Well done, Sri Lekha.
And, thank you, Uncle. Thank you, sister. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
And I would also like to thank all the participants for patiently being with us. आप सबने बहुत ही ज़्यादा हम सब के साथ पेशेंस प्रैक्टिस के धैर्य के साथ हम सब हमारे साथ इस सेशन में बने रहे हैं. जो भी क्वेश्चंस आपने हमारे साथ साझा किया है उसको हम कंपाइल करके सर तक पहुंचाएंगे और सर आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि प्लीज find the time and answer these questions and help us and guide us, sir. And last but not the least, I place it all the experiences, all the love that we've received today, that we've shared today, I place it all at the lotus feet of beloved Bhagwan, thanking him profusely for his immense grace. And definitely, we are looking forward to many more sessions. Meanwhile, I wish that all of you have a great weekend and a great week ahead, and we'll see you very soon. With these words, I request the IT team to bring this session to conclusion with the Shakti Mantra.
Thank you, Subhada, for coordinating this session. Thank you so much for taking time off. You have an exam, a doctor, but you've taken wonderful time and you've set the tone for this entire thing. Thank you, Subhada.
Thank you. Sairam.
समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति शांति शांति. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई.